You weren't born as a Leo by chance. You didn't just happen to carry the fire sign's mark. You were chosen by the universe to roar, to lead, and to light the way for others, even when the world tries to dim your glow. Have you ever wondered why your heart feels heavier when unappreciated? Why loyalty runs deeper in your soul than most can understand? Why your passion is both your power and your pain? It's because you were born with purpose. The universe didn't place you under the sun-ruled constellation without intention. There's a reason your spirit burns brighter. There's a reason your presence changes rooms. There's a reason you are Leo, and today, we're going to uncover why. Before you were born, before your first breath, your soul stood at the edge of the cosmos, and when the universe asked you, "Do you dare to be seen?" you said yes. Leo souls are not created out of convenience. They're crafted from celestial courage, forged in the sun's radiant core, and chosen to walk earth as living light. The universe knew the world would forget how to shine, so it created you, a Leo, not to dominate, but to inspire, not to be adored, but to remind others how to love. You are here to remind the world of warmth, joy, loyalty, and the beauty of unapologetic existence. Leo is not arrogance. It is the soul's remembrance, that you were never meant to hide. You represent the divine spark that lives in all of us, but only a few have the courage to express, and when you laugh, when you create, when you stand for someone you love, the universe whispers back, "Yes, this is why I made you." You are the cosmic lion, not just of strength, but of radiant, unshakable heart. Inside you, Leo, lives a fire no storm can put out. It is not just passion, it is purpose set ablaze. This fire burns brighter when you're protecting someone. When you're creating something beautiful, when you're standing up for the one who doesn't have a voice. That flame isn't an accident, it's a celestial signature, a reminder that you are here to ignite not only your own path, but to help light the way for others who've forgotten how to believe in themselves. Your energy is sacred, your confidence is healing, your loyalty, it's the safest place someone will ever find. But this fire, it also needs care. Because when it's ignored, when it's dimmed to keep others comfortable, you feel like you're fading, not because you've lost your worth, but because you're not being seen for who you truly are. And Leo, being unseen is your soul's deepest wound, not out of vanity, but because you know your light was meant to serve, to warm, to lift. The universe gave you this fire not just to survive, but to lead, to love louder, to show what it means to live with heart. So never apologize for being too much. Never shrink to fit into smaller spaces. You were born to expand, to radiate, to make people feel something again. You're not just a zodiac sign, you're the spark in someone's dark, the voice when someone forgets their own, the flame that never dies, even when the world turns cold. Everyone sees your crown, Leo. They admire your strength. They think you have it all figured out, but what they don't see is the weight that crown carries. You're the one they lean on, the motivator, the protector, the one who always seems okay even when you're quietly falling apart, but who checks on you. The truth is, behind your bold smile and radiant aura, is a heart that has been bruised more times than you've admitted. Because you carry pain silently, you don't want to burden others, you don't want to appear weak, and most of all, you don't want anyone to lose faith in the strength they see in you, so you hold it in. You stay up late comforting others, even when your own heart is aching. You become the light in their tunnel, even if yours is flickering in silence. Leo, this is what makes you extraordinary, but it's also what leaves you exhausted, because being strong doesn't mean you don't need care. It doesn't mean you don't crave someone who looks at you and says, "Rest, I've got you today." You're not invincible, even if you play the part so well. You're allowed to cry, to fall, to take off the crown and just be, and the ones who truly deserve your love, they'll understand that your vulnerability is just as powerful as your strength. They'll know, Leo isn't just a fierce lion, Leo is also a soul that longs to be held, to be understood, to be seen fully, without performance, without armor. So when the world forgets, let me remind you, you are allowed to need. You are allowed to rest, you are allowed to ask. Even the sun sets for a while, Leo, but it always rises again, and so will you. You weren't born randomly, you were born when the sun was at its brightest, its most powerful, its most unapologetic. That's Leo season. When the universe was at its peak of radiance and intensity, you arrived. Why? Because this world needed a reminder of confidence, of courage, of creativity. The universe plants seeds with intention, and Leo, you are no exception. You were born at a time when energy surges. When people start to feel the heat of life again, when things bloom wildly, and passion runs high, you were born in a season that doesn't hide, it roars, it shines, it commands attention without apology. That's what you were meant to do. You were never meant to shrink into the background. You weren't meant to blend in or dim down. No. You were born during Leo season because your presence is needed, in rooms that forgot how to smile, in lives that forgot how to dream, in hearts that forgot what bold love feels like. Leo, you are a walking reminder that light exists, that passion matters, that laughter has healing power, that life is to be expressed, not merely endured. You bring seasons of change with your fire, igniting people who've gone cold. You awaken courage in those who've lost theirs. You teach others how to love out loud, to speak without fear, to live without pretending. You weren't born in Leo season just to carry the sign, you were born to embody it, to become everything that fire stands for: warmth, illumination, transformation. So the next time someone asks, why were you born as a Leo? Tell them, because the world needed more light, and the stars chose you. Leo, you don't always see it, but you are a healer. Not the kind that uses potions or prayers, but the kind who simply walks into a room and shifts the energy. Your light is healing, your presence is medicine. You have this strange, beautiful way of finding the person who's falling apart quietly, and making them feel like they matter again, not because you try, but because you are. You ask how someone is doing and actually listen. You compliment someone, and suddenly they feel seen. After months of feeling invisible, you laugh in a way that makes others feel safe to laugh too. You make it okay for people to take off their masks, because you never hide your fire, and that gives others permission to stop hiding their shadows. You may think you're just being nice, but someone walked away from that moment, feeling a little more alive than they did before. That's your gift, Leo. You notice the ones who think they're forgettable. You stand up for the ones who were never defended. You show love to people who've only known conditions, and even when you feel broken, you still pour out joy like it's infinite. You still lift others, even when no one's lifting you. That is a rare kind of strength, a sacred kind of love. So many people walk around with wounds they never talk about, but you walk around handing out bandages, without even realizing it. Sometimes the loudest laughers are the softest healers. And Leo, that is you. Why your presence feels so royal, even when you don't try. You've probably heard it before, Leo, there's just something about you. And it's true. You walk into a room and without saying a word, people notice, not because you're trying to be the center of attention, but because you carry something ancient and regal within you. It's in the way you hold your head high, even on your worst day. It's in the way your energy fills a space, not loudly, but boldly. You're not arrogant, you're aware of your worth, aware of your purpose. And even when self-doubt creeps in, there's a part of you that remembers who you are. You were born with a throne in your soul. And it's not about control, it's not about being worshipped, it's about being responsible for the light you carry. Your presence feels royal because your spirit is one that's been through centuries of fire and gold. You've risen too many times to walk quietly now. Your confidence doesn't come from perfection, it comes from resilience. Your voice carries weight because it's laced with truth. Your eyes sparkle because they've seen darkness, and chose to shine anyway. People look to you because you remind them what it means to be proud. Not in ego, but in essence. You are the lion not because you roar, but because you stand tall when the world tries to shrink you. You don't beg to be seen. You simply exist in a way that demands recognition. So when someone says, you have a royal aura, believe them. That's not a compliment. That's your birthright. Leo, you often seem like you have it all, the charm, the talent, the passion, the spotlight, the applause. And yet, there's a quiet space in your heart that still whispers, is this it? Because for you, fulfillment was never just about success. You were never meant to stop at applause. You were born for purpose. You could have the world clapping at your feet and still crave a deeper connection, a more meaningful legacy, a love that sees beyond the glitter. That hunger in you isn't dissatisfaction, it's evolution. It's your soul saying, there's still more to create, more to give, more to love, more to become. You're not restless, you're wired for expansion. Because while others settle, you wonder, what else can I become? And that's beautiful. It's not a flaw, it's proof you're listening to the divine fire inside you. You're not chasing fame, you're chasing meaning. You're not seeking attention, you're seeking alignment. You want your life to matter, to you, and to the world you'll leave behind, and no matter how many achievements decorate your path, you'll always look beyond them, because the Leo soul isn't satisfied by trophies, it seeks transcendence. So if you feel like there's more for you, you're right, there always is. Because your story didn't end at success, it begins at awakening. Leo, you didn't come to this world by accident. Your soul chose this fire, this heart, this mission. When the stars aligned and whispered your name, they didn't ask for someone ordinary, they called in someone limitless, someone who could carry light through shadows, someone who could speak truth with courage, someone who could love loudly, even in a world that often asks us to quiet down. You were born a Leo, because the universe needed someone to lead without domination, to inspire without seeking validation, to shine, not to blind others, but to ignite them. The cosmos chose you, because it knew your roar would wake people up, that your presence would open hearts, that your resilience would remind others of their own strength. You're not just here to be admired, you're here to awaken, to create art, stories, movements, love, that echoes across timelines. You're here to show people what it means to believe in themselves. When the world forgets to, you are not too much. You are exactly enough to move the mountains you were born to move. So when you feel lost, remember, your spirit was handpicked by something greater, because it believed in your ability to become the sun, even on days when all you feel is the storm. You were born Leo for a reason, and that reason is written in every star that ever burned, just to remind you, you are the light.